everybody. Hare Krishna. So welcome to the third series in the series of intrapersonal and interpersonal communication workshop. This is number 3 of the series. And I want to thank you very much for your interest. Now, I have a presentation. Let me just put it up for you to see. Today, we'll be looking at the bridge, the connection. Generally, the communication is like this. One person is speaking something, another, blah, 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 blah. Nobody understands anybody. Nobody understands themselves. I don't know if you have seen this movie. How many of you have seen this movie? Raise your hand. If you have not seen, one evening we can plan it. Okay, only one. Okay, Kulavati, we should plan it. Okay, 2. We should plan to watch this movie with our group sometime in the American evening time. That would be very, very helpful. Very, very helpful this thing is. So for those of you who don't know, I made the other side of the cartoon. I expected that maybe not many have seen this movie. Now, what's the name of the movie, by the way, Kulavati? You also forgot? Let me just check.
It's Inside Out, actually.
Yeah, Inside Out. Thank you. Inside Out. It's a 2015 movie. It's very, very nice. We should watch it sometime. So Inside Out. The point about Inside Out is what you see on the right side. There's a cartoon of this guy thinking if he has a self-dialogue. And what's his self-dialogue? This is the stupidest report I've ever seen. So with that approach, when he goes to whether speak to his boss or speak to his colleague, because the intrapersonal, which is all about what we know about ourselves, what we believe about ourselves, what are our deep value systems. If we believe that we are, oh, I am the greatest, can also end up in problem. Oh, I am the worst, can also lead to a problem. So the idea is to look inside our mind and to see all this intrapersonal dialogues that we have. I am this, I am that, I can do this, I cannot do this, all the intrapersonal abilities. So today we'll explore a little bit more about the dynamics between interpersonal versus intrapersonal. So basically, intrapersonal is about self-awareness plus self-understanding. Self-awareness may be true. Sometimes we may think, I've been so stupid in this situation. It's the truth. Self-awareness, great. But if there is no self-understanding, means, okay, where do I get myself from A to B? Where do I need to go? This is where I am. I want to go there. Self-understanding also is very important. So that's we can kind of conclude that intrapersonal intelligence is a combination of these two. Okay. Now, so let's read this. Let's read this differences here: interpersonal skills versus intrapersonal skills. Interpersonal skills is all relating to other people. Let's go over the intrapersonal skills. It entails emotional intelligence, and we've been working on it for the last couple of days. We are working on our recovery 12 steps meetings. We are developing that sense of emotional intelligence to see where we are at, self-awareness, to understand ourselves, why I am where I am, what I need to do in order to go further, and self-reflection. So self-reflection requires kindness, compassion, because if we do only self-reflection based on the list that yesterday we did, the column, I'm not good, I space out, I am lazy, or if we base our self-reflection only on left side of the column work that we did yesterday, then we would be dishonest. Then we are not doing our 4th step properly. So to be able to do our 4th step properly, self-reflection needs to include both the columns that we worked on yesterday. One is the character defects, and the other is the assets. And how do we balance the two? By differentiating the second exercise that we did yesterday. What is upsetting me? Yes, very important to write it down. And then very important to the other part, what is my need or want? What do I want? Therefore, Because otherwise we'll only be in tamas guna. I am lazy, and then we'll remain in laziness. But true self-reflection requires the other side, which is I want to be able to do something meaningful. So then that's what we focus on. Then resilience. Resilience is also another factor we touched upon yesterday. We won't go into depth today. Then all the other factors, including how we manage stress, because in any communication, if you don't know how to manage stress, then in any other interpersonal communication, we will mess it up. Because if it's a stressful conversation and we haven't learned how to navigate. This thing is getting in the way. I'm just going to move this. And goal setting. Sometimes we have to determine, is relationship more important or getting it my way is more important. So as we can see here, sorry, just give me a second. You can join Zoom if you like. We have this workshop for the next 30 minutes.
My mom's talking.
No,
It's okay. When you
we'll talk later, Hariva.
I guess.
So here we see that in order for two people to have proper communication, the two puzzle pieces need to come together. Yesterday, you remember I sent you this quote about Srila Prabhupada. He says that association or sangha means even two people compatible is better sangha than 200 people who are incompatible and they just fight. The same thing here, communication. If one person has emotional intelligence, they are from a clean place, another person also, then these two people communicating has meaning, has purpose, and it will go somewhere. But if both people are messed up and the communication style is off, then we don't really arrive at anything. And in case one is very sincere, they're very honest, and the other person is manipulative and they just use communication skills to get their way, then also the relationship is not sustainable. So, my dear friends, in order for us to be successful in relationships, we need to know very clearly the difference between interpersonal and intrapersonal communication. We need to know ourselves, we need to know our strengths and weaknesses, and we have to communicate from a place of healthiness and wholeness. And otherwise, we wonder why. Also, it's very important that we need to be aware of the other person's level of recovery. Some people are very much in denial, they're very much in ignorance. And it's very difficult to have a genuine, honest, intimate relationship with those people. And some other times it's just compatibility. But it's important to understand these two, interpersonal versus intrapersonal. So here is a little slide that this is like again a puzzle piece put together. One thing is perceiving emotions. What this is a definition or like a or unpacking what emotional intelligence means. Perceiving emotions, the ability to identify and recognize one's own emotions and those of others around them. Using emotions, the ability to generate specific emotions and use these emotions within interpersonal interactions with others. Then what is understanding emotions? The ability to understand complex emotions of ourselves and maybe even others, first ourselves, and how they link to other emotions one may be experiencing. So sometimes you may be triggered by something somebody says in the meeting and may not have anything to do with the other person. We may feel upset. Why does this person say this? Why this person is like this? But it's something triggering because of our own internal struggles. Then managing emotions is all about the ability to control emotions in yourself and others. And that needs to be done. It's like salt. Managing emotions is like salt. If you put too much, the meal is the preparation is useless. And if we put too little, then it has no taste in it. So the controlling emotions needs to be done in the right place, right time, with the right people, and a lot of tools can be very handy in managing emotions. Okay, so I mean, I'm trying to obviously like kind of put together different skills or different techniques to understand as much as possible in 3 days. But I realized that to go more into the interpersonal skills of how to relate to others, we would need another workshop on that. But today we will be discussing a little bit how to have that conversation with the clear sense of uh, wholeness within. Like in the left image, you see the guy he's able to understand himself. He knows what are his triggers. He's aware. I mean, I don't know he's just a cartoon, but you get the idea. And then on the right side, we see this dude happily. He looks very happy. He looks like a pastor talking to two people. He's very present. If you have seen him talking to some people, can be very pleasant experience. They understand us. They make us feel understood. We feel encouraged. And talking to some other people feels like, why did I even go and talk to that person? So that is also because the person may have mastered, or it may be for many lifetimes of work. They have the ability to make people feel comfortable, to make people encourage people, and so on and so forth. So we'll do a little bit more of what intrapersonal skills therefore concludes. This is a conclusion slide of intrapersonal skills. Intrapersonal skill is the internal ability of a person to know and discover himself or herself. It deals with how you handle your emotions, frustrations, excitement, and how you behave under stress. And it is related to a person's internal elements. And it's important before we communicate with others. And it also reflects self-esteem, how open-minded we are, being aware of our own thinking, and our ability to learn, the ability to understand and manage our own emotions, how much self-confidence we have, how much self-discipline we have, self-motivation. When I say self-discipline, self-motivation, we may have an argument with somebody because we came late. Let's say we had a appointment to catch a flight at 10 o'clock. And in a few days, I have my flight. I'm hoping the person will pick me up in time. So it's very important to have that level of self-discipline. Otherwise, whatever communication skills are there, but if there is no commitment, if people don't know how to keep up to time, if people are not punctual, then there's not much effective personal relationship we can have with people who are not punctual. So on and so forth. So intrapersonal skills includes many of these things. How self-disciplined is a person? Because if a person is not self-disciplined, they don't keep to their word, we will not trust them. And the relationship cannot develop unless the person works on themselves. So similarly, we can see these things in other people, you can see it in ourselves. Then we become realistic, where to expect, where not to expect. Then what else? There are many more things here. Being able to overcome boredom, being patient, being a self-starter, being able to take initiative, working independently, being persistent, having a positive attitude, and being a good person, good manager of time. So all these things will be intrapersonal. So if any of this thing is missing in our life, we'll have unmanageability. We'll struggle in relationships. We're always giving excuses to people. So most of our communication is not involved in growth. It's only involved in escapism or justification or always some sort of problem solving. There's no strategy for growth. So that's why interpersonal skills are so important. And even personally in my life, I have found that unless and until I was able to achieve some balanced level of all these things mentioned here, it was impossible for me. Imagine, like today, I get spaced out in Madhava Prabhu's Kirtan, watching at my window, and then I don't come to the workshop, and then they are all like, "What's happening?" So it requires then I may explain, oh, very nice communication tools I may use and the best skills, but there is no substance. Okay, so this is now we are coming to the bridge. The bridge, how do I? So the bridge is, in the intrapersonal communication, it's all happening in our mind, and it's very important what's happening. And then it's an internal process, and it's private, it's subjective, and it's self-directed. Purpose include decision-making, problem-solving, self-regulation. Okay. Then interpersonal communication, which is about others, includes examining and evaluating financial statement. I mean, this says something about this was some accounting firm. What? Interpersonal, yeah, it's something about accounts. Don't worry about accounting. We can say about dealing with other people. Okay, I have one more here. This is more relevant. Intrapersonal communication refers to a person's internal dialogue and self-talk that can be conscious or subconscious. So what's the difference? Intra versus inter? Intrapersonal communication is an internal dialogue and it's invaluable for self-comprehension and self-development. Interpersonal occurs between two or more people, and it is essential for creating meaningful relationships and understanding different points of view. So here's an example, self-reflection. Through deep introspection, one can gain insight into oneself and their thoughts and emotions. Self-reflection allows someone to identify their strengths and weaknesses while also comprehending what leads to successes or failures, either in communication or life in general. Okay, so that's our bridge presentation here. Any questions so far? Anything about the connection between intrapersonal and interpersonal? Anybody still has any doubt? Why do we still need intrapersonal? Why is not just enough to be a charismatic speaker and just convince everybody?
I have one question, Mataji.
Only one. That's great, Shweta Mataji.
So, Mataji, with intrapersonal, like while you are telling us or giving us this workshop, but at the same time, I have so many thoughts going on in my mind regarding the planning of other things, which are supposed to be not priority right now, but it is in the June end. But my mind is going there, thinking that sometimes it's going anywhere else. So, how can I make my mind focused and be present what is going on right now, because it has the habit of uh, going too much with the intrapersonal. So how can I stop that to have this communication interpersonal, which we are doing right now, learning to be very focused, I mean to say like that.
I mean, you don't have to. That's my answer. You don't have to do anything different. You just have to accept the consequences that if you're not focused, then you won't get the knowledge. That's usually, for me, that's usually enough. You have to ask yourself, is it important for me to think about whatever is going to happen in June about the planning? Or is it important for me to absorb the information that I have been getting in this workshop? You just ask yourself whenever, especially because you have this awareness, then I would ask, it's an intrapersonal thing. You ask yourself, my mind is going there. So should I think about that or should I be present to learn? Because then later you may not get it, or you may not, you may lose out, you may miss out on this also, and that also you won't plan properly, right? That's, I mean, not you, hypothetical you, we all, when we are thinking of something else while being absorbed in some, we are supposed to be absorbed in, let's say, listening to the class. By the way, just yesterday, Giriraj Maharaj gave class here in the temple hall, and somebody asked a question. So Maharaj said, it was very interesting, this same question that you asked, but in a different format. So Maharaj was speaking about, he said, you cannot get Krishna's mercy unless you get the mercy of the devotees. You just cannot. And then he said, to think that you can get Krishna's attention or mercy without the devotees around you, if you don't pay attention to the devotees around you, you're not kind or whatever. He was just saying that it's not possible. Then this devotee asked the question, and then just as Maharaj was saying that earlier, so this Prabhu asked the question. He said, Maharaj, you said this point that it would be offensive to not pay attention to the devotee and to think that Krishna, I can get to Krishna directly. But Maharaj, just as you were earlier, you were talking about a particular point, and then and then the altar opened, Maharaj, and then I paid obeisances, and then I missed the next few 10 seconds of 10 or 30 seconds of what you said. I missed, Maharaj. My attention was completely diverted on Kalatsanji because you were speaking, but then altar opened, and then I saw that. So have I done an offense, Maharaj? Is it a mistake that I focused my attention on the altar opening and I saw Krishna and I didn't pay attention to you? Guess what Maharaj said? I loved his answer. It was like a huge intrapersonal puzzle piece in my life, what he answered.
Please share with us also.
What I think Pankaj Radha was there in the class, so she knows the answer maybe. But somebody else.
Did you say like the whole class was meant so that your attention goes to Radha Kalachandaji?
No. Not at all. He said, have I done an offense, Maharaj? Is this a mistake, Maharaj? I didn't focus on your class, Maharaj. You were speaking all class. You were talking about the importance of paying attention to devotees and being focused. No, have I done this offense, Maharaj? Have I done this? Is this a mistake? Is this an offense? Maharaj just looked at Kalachanji. He looked at the audience. Then he said, well, you have done a mistake. And then he laughed. That's it. So the truth is, sometimes we're looking for justification. This, that. The truth is, we're going to lose. We are losing it. Nobody else is. So we just have to tell our mind, pick, my dear mind. You can't have both. And make peace with that. Maybe this Prabhu wanted to hear from Maharaj that no, it's not an offense, but Maharaj didn't say that. So even for me, it was a huge intrapersonal puzzle piece because every time in my mind, I'm trying to, like recently something happened. I gave a class and some people didn't like it and they were like, they didn't want me to give class again. And the whole dialogue, right? Like then immediately, the immediate reaction is like, yeah, but I didn't say anything wrong or anything. I was Shastrik only and this and that. So then I immediately had to do the right thing that maybe I should be careful when I'm presenting in front of Western devotees. Western people may not have the cultural richness that Indian people have. So I should be careful next time. Until I come to that point, admitting that, okay, I need to learn how to do better in front of certain people. I can go on and on and on into the intrapersonal, trying to justify, trying to say that the other person needs to be open-minded, the other person doesn't know enough, I didn't do anything wrong. I can go on and on. But until and unless I can honestly admit that there is some improvement for me, Krishna is giving me an opportunity, then I can progress. So this is the same thing. It's good to be aware. That's why the self-reflection part needs to be two part of honesty. Self-reflection is good. I recognize, okay, I made a mistake. I don't find ways to convince myself that I didn't do a mistake. Admit that there is a mistake, but then also do the other side. So what about from now on? What is my choice? Because we always have distractions all the time. We have distractions all the time. I watched one video, some police officer. I follow her. I don't know how. I have one friend police, and then I think she gave me her link. So there's one police officer. She made this link. She made this little reel. She says, come on, you're scrolling. Keep scrolling, keep spending your time scrolling into watching these things. No problem. I like the way, the conviction she does. I can send it to some of you who see Hindi. She makes those reels in Hindi. Then she says, and then 10 years from now, you're going to look back and regret so much. You will think that I should not have done so many Instagram scrolling. I should not have watched all those YouTube videos. Then she says, you will experience so much pain later. And the pain that now you feel your mother or your father or whoever is telling you to focus on your studies and learn this or learn that, it feels uncomfortable, it's painful, but she says this pain is nothing in front of the pain that you will experience later. So then she says, come on, scroll, waste your time, go ahead. So the the point was, we have to have that self-dialogue with ourselves. Come on. You want to keep going, space out. You want to waste your time. Okay, come on. So that's why my answer to you when you ask the question is, you don't have to change anything. The truth is there is going to be a consequence and we just have to make peace with that. So not make peace, but the consequence is unavoidable. Inevitable.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji, for answering this question. What I have tried, to control my mind at that time to stop this intrapersonal, is I just wrote down, plan this thing later today. So, but still, it was bugging me, and I was thinking, like, what if I don't have the paper and pen to stop my this thinking at that moment? But your answer gave me the solution. Like, I need to remind my mind, you can't have both at the same time, and like remind that again and again when the same habit is doing. Like, sometimes kids are talking and I am in my own thoughts, not paying attention what they are talking, so I can now be focused what they are saying, because it's not good to ignore them all the time. I am facing consequences being not a good parent. It's not like I'm not doing good at that, not listening to them when they are sharing something, and I am in my own world, in an intrapersonal world. So I hope I can handle this by learning this technique with you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Shweta Mataji. Two things very important. Thanks to Shweta Mataji, it's coming up. First thing is intrapersonal world is not a bad thing. It's not just about being lost in your thing. Intrapersonal means how you handle your emotions and how you express that externally. So interpersonal world, like it's not doesn't mean, oh, I was lost in my intrapersonal world. It's not a, it's that statement doesn't make sense. The thing is, you need to manage your intrapersonal world better. That way, you can put it that way. Because intrapersonal means your mind is jumping here, jumping there. You may use right communication skill with them. Beta, tell me what happened in your school. But internally, the intrapersonal world, as you say, the intrapersonal management has not been done. So there is a chaos inside. So if your intrapersonal world is handled well, then it will be easier for you externally. Second point is going back to our step work. Always go to step 1 and step 2. The point is not reminding our mind. The point is to hand it over to Krishna, step 3. Because I feel powerless. Krishna, right now I want to focus on this, but my mind is diverted. Krishna, you can help me to keep my mind steady. Krishna, I hand over these thoughts that are coming to me about what I need to do in June. Please help me to remember this later. So you can do that in 2 seconds. It's an internal process. Like I started practicing that. Every time all these distractions come, I just say, Krishna, if this is important for me, please, you are the cause of remembrance, forgetfulness. So please give me the remembrance of this thing that I need to do for later. He'll be happy to do it. And sometimes some bad things I'm remembering, and then something I was remembering, some fight with somebody, something had happened. So I was asking Krishna, this is not useful for me to remember. Please remove this from my subconscious memory. So like this, the point is keep going back to step 1, step 2, step 3. I cannot do this, Krishna. You can help me, Krishna. I hand it over to you, Krishna. I cannot do this, Krishna. You can do this, Krishna. I hand it over to you, Krishna. So every time our mind is trying to trick us, we go step 1, step 2, step 3.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
All right, so let's go into our next part of the presentation. When we are communicating, whether we are communicating with our kids, whether we are communicating with our husband, we are communicating with our fellow partner in the recovery meetings, there are 2 types of questions to ask. Because reflective listening is very good. It helps us figure out whether we have understood the other person's feelings. We did a session on that, how to listen to other people and reflect their emotions. Oh, you feel sad because your son did not greet you when he came back home. Or you feel angry because your son left the garbage in the front door. You know, we reflect the emotion. We don't say the same thing what they said, but we catch the emotion. And then yesterday I was having outreach call with Doshna, and then she did very good reflection. She helped me, and she said something very like, I was going through some event, some incident, and then the way she reflected, and then she said, I didn't say those words. She reflected, and then she said, so because of this situation happening, you're able to, your triggers have come up and you're able to see that those triggers are the same things that you're working on in the step work. Those same anarthas, the same character defects. And I was like, yeah, oh, yes, that's true. I didn't say it. I was just saying what was happening. But she was able to connect with me, understand me. She has heard me. Then she was able to relate it. And then she said, oh, in the step work, you're focusing on this and this trigger came and then you're able to recognize the patterns. And it really helped me. So what would have taken me 1 hour to process, I was able to process it in 5 minutes because then the whole thing came up easier. Okay, so there are two types of questions to ask while somebody is talking to us. One is open-ended. That's the one that we will practice today. It is about prompting individuals to think critically, reflect and provide detailed responses. Okay, what is open-ended? I will repeat it again. Prompt individuals to think critically, reflect and provide detailed responses. Whether it's our children, partners, friends, or recovery partners. Next, closed-ended questions. They're called closed-ended because they require specific and often brief answers from a predetermined set of options. Both type of questions have their place depending on the purpose and context. Somebody comes to you and say, Shweta Mataji, what time is it? And then you say, so you're really feeling very curious to understand what time it is. It would be very inappropriate, right? We just give exact answer. What is the time? And then we don't go into this. We say it's 8 o'clock. Okay. So like that, there is a place to ask something. For example, did you have an appointment with that person? Somebody says, oh, I was waiting for my friend and she didn't come to give me a hug before she left the program. And then you may say, but did you have an appointment? That's a closed-ended question. Why? Because the answer is either yes or no. No, I didn't have an appointment. So that gives us an idea that this person is going on complaining about this friend who didn't come to see them, but they never had an appointment. So it's not a big deal. So similarly, open-ended questions are more for understanding further about their emotions. Closed-ended questions gives us a specific predetermined set of options. So what is the difference? Yes or no is what? Closed-ended. Closed-ended questions have yes or no answer. Did you go there? Did she call you? Did you eat today? Any of these kind of questions is a closed-ended question. Either there is a yes or a no answer. Then open-ended questions are the why and the how and the when and the why. This is also very useful for us also to do it with ourselves. What? Sorry, I couldn't say that. What, how, when, why. So these are the questions that comes up in closed-ended. And so what I'll do is in the next, we have 10 minutes. So we will do this in our breakout session in the Anartha Nivritti meeting today. We'll practice it, but I will explain more about this closed-ended question. Any questions so far? Okay, let's go into this. Then if you have questions about this, we have time. Because this communication skill helped me a lot navigate my marriage because I was married to an Italian, completely different cultural things. We had huge age difference. We come from different backgrounds, so many differences. And these closed-ended questions really helped me understand relationship, and also with different people. I meet different people from different countries. So this tool has helped me a lot. So open-ended questions, which we are learning today, it opens the conversation and makes people choose, okay, which door we open, we say, how do you feel about this? It's like there are many doors you show them, then you say, which door would you like to take? And they choose a particular door. That's an open-ended question. Closed-ended question is like you show a particular door and then you say, go there. So open-ended questions are very good for building a relationship in the long term. Then, yeah, close or limit the scope of the conversation. So if we just ask the person, so did you make the meal today? we are very close, limited thing. We open the door and say, did you make it? Yes or no? There's no options. But if we ask them something like, tell me more about your planning for dinner today, then they can choose from different topics that they can go. It's not just about the meal. So, oh yeah, I was actually, preparing grocery and this happened. So they can go further. Then uncover unexpected stories and insights. Uncover, when it's open-ended question, then we figure out something unexpected. We didn't even know about it. And when it's closed-ended, it's more clarification. Did you say you did it or you didn't do it? You say, oh, my friend was upset, this happened, that happened. She was telling me that I may do this and that. But did you keep prasadam for her or not? Like, we ask the specific question to get clarity. I didn't understand. Did you keep it or not? And that's like a closed-ended question. It's either yes or a no. Then open-ended question is about facilitate exploration of a particular topic. And then closed-ended question is more support quantification of responses. How many outreach calls did you do today or this month? That's like a closed-ended question. One number, you give a number, 10, 1, 5, whatever. Whereas facilitate exploration of a topic is more like, so can you tell me a little bit more about your outreach? How is it going? So that's an open-ended question. So then they can go anywhere. Oh, I have been wanting to do, but I didn't do it. So they can go anywhere. But if we just ask, how many did you do? It's a closed-ended question. So like that. Then open-ended question. It's used heavily in interviews and qualitative usability tests. Many times they use it on even customer care. They're very expert. They're trained in all this communication tools. So they'll usually ask open-ended questions. They will not ask, will you recommend this product to somebody else? They will ask, how likely are you to recommend this product to other people? So they're very qualitative, they want you to say that. They will not say, do you like our product? They will say, what do you like about our product? So they're very clever, they learn all this. I got trained with the professionals, so I know how these things are asked. Okay, so open-ended questions is used in counseling, in interviews. It encourages creative thinking. It provides detailed answers. It also provokes thoughtful answers. Okay, this is very important. But again, don't forget, there's always a prelude or foundation for open-ended questions to work nicely. You should have already established at least some reflective listening. The person should have faith that you understand the person like that, so that they don't go off track. Okay, so these are the 18 slides that I had for today. Any questions about open-ended questions? And please ask me open-ended questions. Don't ask me closed-ended questions. For example, in our recovery outreach calls, somebody calls and then says, oh, I was not asked to give class and this and this and this and this. And then the open-ended person says, what step of recovery work do you think you could work on in this? Yeah, simple. And then something else. Oh, I felt so bad, this thing happened, and you reflect, okay, so you're feeling really disappointed that this person didn't understand, and then you ask an open-ended question. I think I had more examples of, we can find more examples of what kind of open-ended questions we can ask in a. They're all giving all sales examples. Round 1, this may be relevant. Let's see. Close in the examples of open-ended questions. Ineffective closed-ended questions. Do you have any questions? We often ask in our program. Do you have any questions? And nobody says anything. Effective hyper open-ended questions. What questions can I answer for you now? Then, does that make sense? Yes or no answer, right? That's a closed-ended question. I know, I just shared a lot of information with you in this past sequence. I'm going to pause now and allow you to react. What is your reaction to what I just shared? That's like open-ended. Second, did you understand that feature? Do you understand this feature? Yes, no, maybe a little bit. But if you ask, tell me, target, I don't know what target, I mean, maybe it's about, I think it's some target company training. What sort of outcome can you envision if every sales professional, every month, every quarter had sort of power at their hands? How would this impact your business at scale? So this is the exact, again, it's another example of a business communication. Instead of asking, would you like to schedule a product demo? Or instead like, oh, the next step, logical step would be to meet with one of our contract management specialists. I have a calendar open right now and we have availability on X or Y. What works best for you? So we're putting them in a position to take that like that. For example, so thank you very much for your share, and then you reflect and then you ask them, so I have opened this file of prayers here. There is prayers on anger, there's prayers on fear, there is also prayers on guilt and shame. Which of the following should we read together? Which prayer should we read together? That's like open-ended thing. Because if we just ask, can we do the anger prayer together? And the person is already angry and they say no, then no feedback, useful feedback. Okay. Like that. So this is today's presentation. So in a moment, we will start our Anartha Nivritti. We will end our YouTube session here. For those watching online, thank you very much. We have participants online that we will practice this more. And I hope to do these workshops in future also, so you can join us. Thank you.